Welcome to Drawn to Crime, where real mysteries unfold through animation. In this episode, we dive into the Sodder Children disappearance. 5 kids, one Christmas Eve, a house fire that burned everything to the ground. But here's the thing that will stay with you long after this video ends. No bodies were ever found, not a single one. Before we talk about what was lost, let me tell you what they had. George and Jennie Sodder were Italian immigrants living in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George had come over from Sardinia as a teenager with almost nothing in his pockets. He worked the railroads, drove trucks, and eventually built his own coal hauling business from the ground up. He was proud, hardworking, outspoken. And Jennie was the heart of everything. Together, they had 10 children. 10. The house was never quiet. It was never empty. It was the kind of home that smelled like food and sounded like life. And on Christmas Eve, 1945, 9 of those 10 children were tucked inside it. Christmas Eve in the Sodder house was everything you'd imagine. The younger kids were buzzing with excitement. The older ones stayed up late. Jennie eventually told everyone to get to bed. She and George fell asleep sometime around midnight. And then, at around 12:30 in the morning, the phone rang. Jennie answered. A woman on the other end asked for someone she didn't know, laughed oddly, and hung up. Jennie walked back toward the bedroom, and that's when she noticed it. The office at the end of the hallway was glowing. George woke instantly. He grabbed the children he could reach, the ones closest to the door. Jennie took the youngest. They stumbled outside into the freezing cold. And standing in the yard, George counted 4 children. He had 4 children with him. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, Betty. They weren't there. George tried everything. He ran back toward the house. He tried to climb the walls. He screamed their names into the smoke. But the flames were too fast, too high. He couldn't get to them. By morning, there was nothing left. Just ash. And silence. The fire department didn't arrive until 8 in the morning. 8 in the morning. The fire had already burned itself out. It later came out that many of the local firefighters had gone home to spend Christmas with their families. The volunteers left in charge weren't prepared. The next day, the coroner ruled all 5 children dead, killed by the fire. There was just one problem. They found no remains, no bones, no teeth, nothing. Now, here's what you need to understand. House fires are devastating, but they almost never completely destroy a human body. Bones survive, teeth survive, fragments survive. But in this house, there was nothing. 5 children, and not a single trace. George Sodder was not a man who accepted things quietly, and the more he looked at that night, the less it made sense. The ladder George always kept propped against the outside wall of the house, for exactly this kind of emergency, was gone. Vanished. Before the fire. Both of his trucks, which had worked perfectly the day before, refused to start that night. Both of them. And the phone line had been cut. Not burnt. Cut. Someone had been there before the fire started. George had also been receiving threats in the weeks before the fire. He was outspoken about his opposition to Mussolini, and not everyone in the community appreciated that. One man had told him directly, and I want you to really hear this, your house is going to go up in flames, and your children will be destroyed. That same man was on the coroner's jury that ruled the fire an accident. And then the sighting started. A waitress at a diner 50 miles from Fayetteville said she served breakfast to 5 children on Christmas morning. She didn't recognize them at the time. A woman who managed a hotel in Charleston said she saw the children about a week later, in the company of adults she described as being of Italian background. An acquaintance of the family said she watched a car speed away from the Sodder house while the fire was still burning. Children inside. And then, in 1968, 23 years after the fire, Jennie received a letter. No return address, postmarked Kentucky. Inside, a photograph. A young man, around 30 years old, dark eyes, strong jaw. On the back of the photo, someone had written, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie." Louis Sodder had been 9 years old when he disappeared. Jennie looked at that photograph every day for the rest of her life. George and Jennie never rebuilt the house. They turned the land into a memorial garden. And in 1952, they put up a billboard, right there on the highway, with photos of their 5 missing children, offering a reward, asking for answers. That billboard stood for nearly 4 decades. George died in 1969, still searching. Jennie died in 1989, still searching. The billboard came down shortly after she passed, as if the world finally exhaled. So what actually happened? There are really 2 possibilities. The first, the official version, is that the 5 children died in the fire, that the blaze was hot enough, long enough to leave nothing behind, that the grief of 2 parents blinded them to a painful truth. Many researchers who've studied this case today lean toward that conclusion. But the second possibility is darker, that the fire was set deliberately, that the children were taken, possibly by people connected to George's enemies, possibly handed off, possibly raised somewhere else under different names, told a completely different story about who they were. And that somewhere out there, Louis Sodder knew exactly who he was and chose to send one photograph and nothing more. The last surviving Sodder child, Sylvia, passed away in 2021. She never found out what happened to her brothers and sisters. This case has never been officially reopened. And somewhere, right now, those 5 faces exist only on old photographs, in archives, in the memories of grandchildren who grew up with a mystery instead of aunts and uncles. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, Betty. 5 kids who went to sleep on Christmas Eve and were never seen again. If you found this story as haunting as I did, stay with us. There are more stories like this one, real ones, and we're just getting started. This is Drawn to Crime.